Tom Mullenix, back to you. Teaching Bible Study Investigation, BSI, and it is easier than you imagine because you've been doing this stuff all of your life. Observe, interpret, apply. This is the second step. We've already observed, we're going to interpret. And that's an important thing to do. But again, you do this all the time. Imagine you're driving. You're heading down the highway and all of a sudden you hear a siren and you see in your rear view mirror lights flashing. There's obviously an emergency vehicle coming. That's what you've observed. But now you need to do a little more observation in order to interpret. What kind of emergency vehicle is this? Is it an ambulance? Is it a fire truck? Is it a cop? And then you see it is a cop, and if you've been exceeding the speed limit some, all of a sudden you start to feel something, right? Because you are interpreting what could happen. And as the cop comes up, he goes into the left lane and goes by you and goes on. Or he pulls right directly behind you and the lights go. That's when you figure out what you have to do to apply. But you're asking the question, what does it mean? What do I see? What do I hear? What does it say? What does it mean? And the Bible, because it's from a different place and a different time, we need to ask also, what did the first people hear? When they heard this, what did it mean to them? I'll give you an example. Jesus said, if anyone would come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross. Now that's Matthew 16:24. Well, in Jesus' day, when he said take up your cross, they knew automatically what he meant because in their time, people did take up their crosses. And anyone who picked up a cross, carried it outside of the village or the town, he was nailed to it and he died on it. It was a method of execution. And that's all they thought. There was no jewelry. There was nothing nice about a cross. It was a method of execution. And so Jesus is saying when he says, take up your cross, he's saying, be willing to die for me. You just know you've taken your death sentence. If you come after me, you need to be committed to me all the way. There's another one I want to give you an example, and it's in Matthew chapter 5, verse 41, where Jesus said, if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, you go 2. We don't know what that means from our part. But if we go back to when they lived, the people Jesus is talking to were under the control of Rome. There were Roman soldiers, their occupational forces, and it was law that any time a Roman soldier walked up to you and dropped his backpack, you had to pick it up and carry it 1 mile. Now, believe you me, those people knew how many steps they took in a mile. And they would go just the mile, begrudging all the way, and stop. Listen to what Jesus is telling them. A Roman soldier may force you to go 1 mile. That you have to do. But you, instead of dropping that backpack, go another mile. The second one is a gift. We don't have occupational forces forcing us to do anything. But we have times and situations in our family, at work, in relationships with people where we are forced, we are obliged to do something. And we have to do that. But as followers of Jesus, he says, go further, do more, do extra. Now this makes absolutely no sense unless Jesus is who he says he is, that he is God the Son, and that he will bless us when we obey him. But that's exactly what Jesus was telling those people, and they heard it. Go the second mile. But now I want you to understand, even though we need to do that, and by the way, if you have questions about that or questions about other things, go to the comments section of this video and write, and I'll find it and I'll get back to you and I'll help you on it. Most of the things we read in the Bible cross easily into our time because we're human beings. And human nature is human nature. God understands human nature, and he speaks to us, and we can understand him. I want to read to you a passage now from Philippians chapter 2. It's a Bible scene, if you want to call it that, verses 3 and 4. And I'm just going to read it to you and think with me about it. What does this mean? Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4. By the way, Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ, is speaking by inspiration of the Holy Spirit, and he is speaking to Christians. And he says this: "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others better than yourselves. Each of you should look not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others." What does that mean? What do we do with it? And I'll tell you what, if you go on in context, you'll see that it says the reason we do this is because Jesus did it. Jesus humbled himself. Jesus put others first. That's why we do it. Investigate. Find out what it says and then ask, what does it mean? It matters. It matters to find out what it means because God is communicating to you. Listen up.